How to make flashcards, right? That's what we're doing. All right, so here's a flashcard. And we'll start with, we'll say this is the front of the flashcard. Okay, you don't have to write front. I'm just writing it. Again, please just watch so you can do this. Okay, so the fraction that we mentioned was 1/4. So on the front of the flashcard, you are going to write the fraction 1/4. Pretty simple. Okay, I would recommend, it really doesn't matter what you write it in. You could write it in marker. You could write it in pen. You could write it in pencil. On the front side, really doesn't matter. Okay, probably the bolder, the better. So far, so good. Okay, on the back of it, this is where you got to pay attention here a little bit. On the back, you are going to write the decimal equivalent. Okay, so on the back, now watch this. I'm going to draw a line that separates the top from the bottom. You don't, if you want to draw a line, you can, you don't have to. Okay, but on the top, you're going to write the decimal equivalent. Now, you in elementary school, from what I understand, you had to put the 0. Is that correct? Okay, you no longer have to put the 0. Okay, you can just write decimal 25. I'll be happy. Okay, now the reason that you're putting it on top is later on, as I mentioned, we're going to have these, we're going to save these for a couple months. You are going to be putting something down below later on. Okay, so what I don't want you to do is write smack dab in the middle of the back of it, write 2,500. Because then you're going to have trouble putting on what we're going to put on later. Does that make sense? Okay, now when you write the decimal equivalent on the back, please use pencil. Why am I asking you to use pencil? Because if you use a pen or a marker and I flash you that card, what do you think you're going to be able to see? The answer on the back. That doesn't help in the learning process, right? So please use pencil and just write normal. Okay. If you make that too dark, that might bleed through too. Okay, so you're going to have 49 of these. You're going to have 49 of these. Okay, and in all honesty, out of those 49, I'll be very honest with you, there's only about 7 or 8 of them that are hard, that you're actually going to have to really, really, really study. It is nice. So, maybe in your mind right now, you're thinking, oh my gosh, 49 of them. How am I going to know? Listen, I bet that you already know 30 plus of these. I do. Honest to goodness. Okay. Everybody good with how to make the flashcards? Everybody good with that? Okay, right? This is easily something that you could get done in essay. Okay. Definitely by next Tuesday when they're due. All right, so let's talk about some fractions. Okay, let's talk about a fraction 1/9. Now, this is really difficult. To memorize this answer, you take the numerator and it repeats itself. Yeah, it's pretty hard stuff. Now, Does anybody know what that is called up at the top? It is not called a repeating bar. Okay, on a hat? No. No, that's okay. It's not called a hat. You're right. I'm trying not to giggle. No, it is not called a hat. It's called a repetend. Shh, children, come on. It's called a repetend. Now, listen carefully. When you take your quiz over these 49, yes, you will have a quiz. Okay. On Edulastic, there is no repetend bar. Okay. So what you are going to have to do, anybody know how else to represent a repetend or something that repeats? That would be 3 dots after it. Okay. This is how you're going to have to represent it on the quiz. Just letting you know ahead of time. There is no repetend bar. Okay. So if we did 2/9, what's the decimal equivalent to 2/9? If you're following along, Michael? Okay, 2 repeating. Okay, decimal, dot, dot, dot. How many dots? 3 dots. Not 1, not 2, 3 dots. Now, here's what's going to be the hard part. And I don't know if you'll go quick or not, but you might do this. Is this the same thing as this? No, because the most common missed item on the quiz is this dot right there, the decimal. That's the most common missed one right there. Okay, I don't know why, because it's fractions to decimals. You have to have a decimal in your answer. Okay, everybody good so far? We're good with the 9s? I mean, if we had 7/9, what's our answer? 7/10 repeating. That is correct. Okay, so that's 1 through 8. Obviously, we're not doing 9 out of 9. That would give us 1. We're not doing that. Okay, everybody good with the 9s? All right, let's move on to the 11s. Now, the 11s are a little bit harder, but if you're listening carefully, the fractions 11, meaning the denominator with 11. You listening? They're all about the number 9. I know that might sound a little crazy, but here's what I mean by that. If we take, we'll start off with something easier here. If we take 2 11s, the way that you remember 2 11s is what I just said. When you have a denominator of 11, it's all about the number 9. You take 9 and multiply it by the numerator. Okay, so this would be decimal 18, 1800s. You take 9 and multiply it by that. Now, what is special about the 11s? They both repeat. So this answer would look like this. 18 repeating. Does that make sense? Hang on. So if we did 4 11s, what's 4 times 9? 36 repeating. Getting the idea? Where 11s are all about the number 9. Zach, do you have a question? Okay. Yes and no. Zach has a good question. Okay. I'll let me think about that, but Zach wants to do that, and I might be okay with that. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to start off at least writing 2 numbers to know that they do repeat. Okay, just so that you're aware of that. Now, let me show you the two hard ones. There's only really two hard ones in the 11th. That would be 1/11. If we multiply by 9, here's what you get. You get 0, 9. Repeating. Okay? So what repeats is 0, 9, 0, 9, not just the 9. Okay? So if you were to write this is to your point, Zach. This is where I'd like you to write at least two numbers. Okay, so 1/11, you got to be careful there. That's decimal 0.9 repeating. Don't write 9/10 repeating. That's not correct. Pretty good with that. Okay, and the other one in the 11th column would be 10/11. If you multiply by 9, we don't get 90. We get decimal 90. So 90 repeats. Does that make sense? Okay, these are the two common missed ones on the 11 side. Okay, so again, if we were to do that, we'd do something like that. Michael, question? It's going to be on there. All 49 are going to be on there. I'm not skipping any. You need to know all of these. Yes? Well, it's not 90. It's 0.90. You have to have the decimal. These are all decimals, right? 90 is a whole number. Zach? I'm sorry? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mason? No, sir. You haven't even made your flashcard yet. Okay. Everybody good with those? So far, so good? Okay. All you got to do is copy it from the class resources. All the answers are there. I gave you that, right? I gave you the fraction and I gave you the decimal. If you don't have 49 flashcards, you missed something. There's 49 fractions and decimals on there, right? So as we showed you the one just a minute ago, you're going to have to make a flashcard for this, and you're going to have to make a flashcard for this, even though they're the same thing. They're two different fractions. Okay? So far, so good? Okay, the harder ones, again, are like 5, 6. Okay? These are the ones that you're probably going to have to study. This here comes out to be 83 hundredths with only the 3 repeating. Okay, so to Zach's point, do I have to write out the number twice? Well, the answer is yes here, because if you write this, children, that's not correct. The 8 does not repeat. It's only the 3. So your answer here would look like this. Does that make sense? The 8 does not repeat. It's only the 3. So this is a common missed one, 5, 6, for obvious reasons. Okay, it's only the 3 repeating. Now, I will tell you this. I'll give you another one. Another most commonly missed fraction is 1/6. Why 1/6? Because it looks like this. Only the 6 repeats. Okay, so your answer here on your test would look something like that. I think you can see, for obvious reasons, why these are the most common missed ones. Some of you, you forgot to repeat the 6. Some of you write 16. Okay, there's a lot of room for error. Okay, so far so good. If you need help making them, see me in SA, see me whenever. Okay, you got today and tomorrow. Now, somebody mentioned the quiz. Just listen. These are no different than your basic math facts. This is where I don't want some of you to wig out on me what I'm about to tell you. Okay, but these are what you need to know by heart, right? That's what it said. Fraction and decimals you need to know by heart. Okay, which means that you need to know them kind of quickly, right? Just like your facts, right? If somebody would say, what's 6 times 5? You'd say 30. That's a fact. That's pretty quick. Okay, now, I'm not expecting you to know them that fast. However, this is the only timed examination that you will have. You don't have forever for these facts. Once again, I know you're wigging out on me, but just hear me out. You already know 30 plus of these. I guarantee it, if not 40 plus. Okay, when you start looking through these, you're going to realize, wow, I know more than I really know. Okay, probably tomorrow or maybe into next week, I'll show you the 7 or 8 of them that you're going to struggle with, that the ones that you really need to study. Does that make sense? Okay, you will have plenty of time. There's no sense to panic. You don't have to do that. Okay, you'll have plenty of time. I don't know when the quiz is. It's probably going to be, I usually give kids 2 weeks to look at these. Okay, after 2 weeks, if you're diligently looking at these, you will be good to go. If you wait the night before the quiz to look at them, you're going to be in trouble. There's no question about it. Okay, does that make sense? Everybody knows how to make them. And if you don't, see me in SA. Question. Say that again. Whether you did or not. Hopefully you wrote hopefully you can copy off of the paper. I don't know. Everybody good? Right. Today for review, okay, because we do have a quiz tomorrow. Okay. If you read the daily agenda, I believe it's on page 69. There is something called a quiz 2-1 to 2-4. I think there's about 17 problems on there. Okay. I will we're not going to have time today, but I will post the answers later. So you have them so you can check them. Okay. When you come in tomorrow, again, I'll give you like the first 10 minutes to look over anything. If you have any questions over the review sheet, we'll answer them, and then we'll take the quiz tomorrow. Everybody good?